Good morning and welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. The information we're about to share with you may or may not shock you. It depends on who you are and where you live. Today we have an incredible story to share with you. This story is our first shocker. This incident happened last week in Walmart. By the way, there are videos all over YouTube showing weirdly dressed people and offbeat actions of people while shopping at Walmarts in America. But we haven't experienced that in small town America so far. These kinds of videos are coming out of big city America. Let me repeat that. Big city America will always have more of that type of thing within their population. But most of America is not big city. It's funny because people watch these videos and then think all of America, every state, is like that, and it just isn't so. We're not saying it won't ever happen in smaller towns in other areas, but we haven't seen it. We have to be careful because there are people trying to portray all of the U.S. of America as the same. Opinions and views on these kinds of videos on YouTube can really sidetrack people's thinking, and this type of incorrect thinking grows and grows until the common man's thinking is that all America is evil and all Americans are hateful beings. It is such a travesty that we would even allow ourselves to think such nonsense. We have to open our minds, folks. Anyone can see with their own eyes what we're saying by going to small town America and seeing for themselves that it is nothing like the big metro areas. Not saying it's perfect, but it's not the big city. So anyway, on to the story, here goes. We went to Walmart to stock up on our once-a-week grocery run. Now never go shopping when you're hungry because you'll buy more than you will actually need because your tummy is growling. And that is exactly what we did, and we were putting food into the grocery cart based on spontaneous decision instead of the usual planning. Before I continue with the story, I need to tell our viewers a bit of a background to help you understand the story better. Now, if you've ever lived in Latin America for any amount of substantial time, you realize that pulling out money wallets with lots of bills in it is a bad idea, and the same with women and their purses. I quit using a purse after a year of living in Latin America, and Frank quit using a wallet. Unfortunately, these items can get pickpocketed and robbed from you very easily. We figure we have pants pockets, and we just learn to put different bills in different pockets, sometimes in hidden pockets. This prevents us from pulling out more money than we'll need for what we're buying. We've been shopping like this for 12 years living abroad, and it works well. So here we are bringing some of our habits with us to America by shopping with no purse and no wallet and just with some bills in our pockets. Is that a good thing or not? You tell us what you think. So anyway, at the checkout, the older lady cashier was very pleasant. As she rang up the groceries, we exchanged pleasantries like how are you today and about how nice the weather was, but that it might rain. After about 5 minutes of ringing up the groceries, she stated the total and we were about $5 short. Has this ever happened to you? I was a bit embarrassed as there were several other customers behind us waiting to also check out. Frank looked at me and said, "What do you want to put back?" And I decided that the $8 bag of chicken thighs could be bought on a different grocery run. But even before I could hand the lady the bag of chicken, she piped up, No, that's okay. You know what? I have $5 right here and I'm going to cover this." What? I said, "No way, you don't have to do that. It's okay, we can come back later and get the chicken on another day." But the cashier did not want to hear that, and she said, "The Lord has blessed me this year and I want to do it." Wow, I thought, even though it's only $5, I was really impressed with this kind gesture. How then can you say no when she wants to do a good deed? So after a few tries at verbally refuting the gesture, Frank and I relented and said, "Well, when we come back to Walmart again, we're going to pay you back." I asked her, "When are you working again so we can make sure that we see you here?" And the woman shook her head and wouldn't tell me. Instead, she said, "No, no, no, don't worry about it." She is a literal angel, and I told her that before we left the store. I was in shock, and I kept talking about it on the way home. You see, it's not just about the money, it's about the kindness and goodwill she had towards her neighbor. She wanted to do it, and she actually needed to do it, and so we let her do it. She felt good about being kind to a stranger. Now, I have to say something else here. We've lived our entire lives in North America, minus the 13 years we lived abroad, and we don't recall this ever happening before. We were shocked and amazed and think it's dramatic positive change we're seeing in people where they seem to have more time to converse with you and actually stop what they're doing and talk with you. So, number one for us is the kindness of Americans and how they take the time to stop and talk with you. It's amazing and it is shocking. Coming back to America, we were expecting something far worse. Just from listening to people talk and seeing comments on videos and forums, you'd think everyone in America is rude, mean, and hateful. Thankfully, we're not seeing that, but we're not in a huge metro area either. Thanks be to God, He brought us just where we need to be. Next up on our shocking list is the customer service in America is over the top. Yes, we miss the real live person walking you to the item you need in the huge Lowe's and then taking the time to actually show you how to make the house repair that you're doing, and even sharing tips and tricks to buy an alternate product to save hundreds of dollars. This really happened. The service at all of the places we have been is on the ball. There really is no service in Latin America except for when it comes to waiters who are taught to service restaurant patrons well, especially the foreigner if they want a good tip. But as far as the stores go, it's difficult to get anyone to help you. And then there is the disorganization, the unapologetic daily mispricing, and the fact that many places do not carry the items you need. By the way, we're not complaining about Latin America, we're showing you a picture of how things really are and that many Americans take these things for granted, just like we did. But coming back to it, after consistently missing it over 13 years, is a pleasant shocker. You don't know what you've got until it's gone, is the saying. After moving abroad, leaving behind really good things about our own country, only to find that the new place isn't paradise after all. Because if it were paradise, why do more than half of the people come back home to America after just a few short years? The bottom line, I wouldn't say it shocked us how good the service is in America, but we were pleasantly surprised with getting the actual assistance you would expect to get from a place where you're spending your money in, right? It could be that we just forgot how good the customer service is in the USA. Tell us what you think. And then our last thing that is somewhat shocking to us is how people who have only been living in another country for a year or two and are coming back to America are shocked by the higher prices, about the crazy, evil people, and about the uptick in crime. We get that, and here is what we have to say about it. When crime is allowed to propagate, there will be more of it. This whole thing with crime getting worse takes discernment. Most Americans are not violent people. The uptick in crime is there for a reason beyond our ability to stop at the moment. The best solution to the crime issue is to stay out of the big and medium-sized cities if at all possible, and do not go out at night. We like to do things early in the day too, while most of the bad apples are still sleeping. The solution to the hyperinflation is to learn more about frugal and industrious ways to save money on food, utilities, housing, entertainment, and transportation. Consider becoming a producer instead of a consumer. A producer of actual things that you and your friends and neighbors will need. Consider surrounding yourself with self-sufficient people that are also producers, and everyone will be able to have plenty, regardless of what happens to the US dollar. God gave us the knowledge to be self-taught, self-thinkers, so don't waste that precious gift. Use it every day to help you and your family in these financially challenging times. And about the crazy and evil people. When spiritually bankrupt people behave irrational and violent and are not punished but rather esteemed for their demented behavior, there will be more crazy people who need attention coming out with extreme behavior. Lots of people need attention right now. The best way they fill that big, huge spiritual bankruptcy in their lives is to act out crazily or unfortunately violently. And the best way to avoid people like this is to stay away from huge crowds of people that are of differing opinions. And again, get out of the cities. None of these things, the crime, the crazies, and inflation, originate from the average American who is just trying to make a living and for the most part live a peaceful existence. We know that the U.S. of America has a lot of terrible things happening, but there is also much good happening in America. There are two kinds of people, those that focus on the bad and those that don't ignore the bad but expect the best and are prepared for the worst. The more we dwell on these negative events in our life, the more stressed out and emotionally angry and upset we feel. If you want to do something about the state of affairs in America, the position has not been filled. Make your voice and ideas heard. Do something about it. Stand up for what's right. Okay? Well, that's it for today. Hope you got some encouragement from our information today, because that's what we're trying to do, is show you a different perspective, a better way. Take care and bye-bye.